What's going on, guys? I'm Mike and you're watching the Texas Fishing Force. So right now on the Texas coast, Galveston, Freeport area, weather's looking pretty rough for about the next week. So in the meantime, while the weather's bad, I'm going through some of my gear. I'm going to replace some leaders, make some new ones, and I figured I'd take you guys along, show you the leaders that I use, what I make, what they're used for, how to store them, and we'll go from there. Let's get into it. So you might be asking, why do we use so many different types of leaders, or why do I use that? And it's really because I can instantly change the way that I'm fishing. If I'm using a cork and I'm sitting on top of the water and I'm not getting bites, well, then I can switch to a barrel weight leader and start fishing the bottom, and maybe that changes things. I say all the time, if you're not catching fish, then change something. Whether it be your leader, your bait, your location, whatever, change something. They're out there. You just gotta figure it out. So I use a bunch of different types of these, and the reason that I make them is because it's so much cheaper, and I can make leaders how I want them. A leader like this, I've seen them go for $10 or more, and I can make 5 or 6 for that price, as long as I'm buying things in bulk, which I do. On top of that, I can change the length of this to however I want, rather than buying a set length that the stores sell. It's so much easier for me to have a much bigger variety when I'm making them myself. So leaders are definitely important, and it's easy to do, and we're going to get into that. Alright, so this is my basic setup. This is everything I use to make leaders here. I bought a kit that had some of this stuff, including these crimps here. I think it was maybe $30-40, something like that. But it's well worth it. In here, I've got a lot of different types of swivels, different sizes, different strengths, as well as these sleeves. We've got some that are double, some that are single, and then we obviously want different size clasps like this for different applications. That way we can change out our hook, we can change out the weight, we can move things around, but this is my basic setup, and then you just need some line. Alright, so there's 3 different types of leaders that I mainly use. There's a lot more options, but this is what I use the most. This is a single barrel weight, moving, it's fixed leader. You can use this really for just about anything. I use it a lot for redfish and things like that. This is going to put your bait on the bottom of the water or close to it. This is going to float up a little bit, but you have a lot of options. You can make them all different sizes. Now this is the same idea. It's a much bigger one, but this is really what I use for like amberjack when I'm going offshore. Much bigger, much stronger, and I mean it's a great addition. These are super simple to make. You can catch tons of different fish. I mainly use them at the jetties in the bay for redfish, but sheep's head, you're going to catch a lot of shark on that too, with them sitting on the bottom. But it's a good leader. Good to have. You definitely want tons of those, different sizes, and with all these leaders. I know a lot of people sit there and say that it needs to be 2 feet. I don't do that. I make tons of different sizes so that I have options, and I can switch them out really quickly while I'm out on the boat or waiting or at the pier or whatever. So that's perfect. This is really the second leader. Actually, I bought this one. I didn't make this, but I've made a lot that are similar to this. And these leaders, basically the same idea. However, we have a clasp in the center that we can put different types of weight on. We still have that movement in the leader, but we have a little bit more options. We can change this out. A lot of times when I'm fishing the piers, I'll put surf sinkers on this so that it stays in, or some pyramid weights if I'm out on the boat or whatever and I'm looking for bigger fish. This is the same idea. Just different type of line. We don't have a stop, so it goes all the way. The weight can move up and down freely a lot easier. The last thing that I use are these. This is just a cork. Same idea with a weight that moves. Standard leader. Everybody needs this. There's a lot of different ways to make these. In fact, this is the same array, except for we have a much longer line. And I use that when I want to change the depth of what I'm fishing. All three of these, in my opinion, must-haves. You got to have them when you're out fishing. They all have different uses. It lets you change the depth of water that you're fishing at. It lets you change the way that you fish. And for me, I keep tons and tons of these leaders around at all times. Now, there's a lot of different leaders that you can add to this, but these are my three basic leaders that I always have. Alright, so this is our basic single barrel weight leader. This is what we're going to make first. This is the easiest thing to make, and it's probably what I use most often. I target a lot of redfish, either at the jetties or the bay, and so this is really what I make most of the time. This is what I use a lot. Every fishing trip I'm going to use these. So we're going to start with that. Now, today I'm going to be using some of this 100-pound mono. This works really, really well, and I have a lot of it. So we're gonna make a little sturdier leader than what I just showed you. These something I bought a long time ago and they break often, so we're gonna make it a little bit sturdier. Now to measure this out, I use a pool noodle, and I'll tell you why here in a little bit. But there isn't a specific length that you need to have. A lot of people say, oh, you need to measure out 2 feet or 3 feet or whatever. I don't do that. I think you need leaders of all kinds of different sizes. So I do. I make tons of different sizes, different lengths, and I try everything out, see what works best for me, where I'm fishing. So anyway, I wrap this around. I'm going to do this 3 times. And wherever I started, I'm going to go about 2 inches over that point, and that's what we're going to do today. Alright. Now, like I said, I'm going to make this a little bit more sturdy than the last leader that I just showed you. In any of the gear that we're using, any of these swivels or class, you want it to be as strong as the mono that you're using. Like I said, I'm using 100-pound, so I want this to be at least that, because I don't want these failing when I'm out there. Alright, so first things first, we're going to slide this through. I don't need anything that strong, so we're going to go a little bit lower. But we're going to make a loop, and we're going to put it through right here. Now, I like a little bit of a loop here on the end. I hope you can see that. We don't want this so tight all the way up here. It's not going to hold well, and then when you crimp it, you have the possibility of pinching that line, and you're going to break it. So I like to have a little bit of loop, plus I want a little bit of movement in here. So that helps. Now when I crimp these, I want to crimp it up and down like this. You don't want to crimp sideways, always up and down. You want to get that in to the pointed about there. Now I've got a little bit of line left over, and we're going to cut that here in a minute. You want to get that tight. So it should look like that. Now we've got a little bit of room, so I'm going to go ahead and crimp it one more time on this side, just make it a little bit stronger. here, this is really strong. We don't have any worries there. So we're going to go ahead and cut off the excess. Just like that. Now the next thing we want to do is we want to pick, oh wait, I have a few different types here, different weights, different sizes. I'm going to go ahead and use this 2 ounce today. I want this to be a pretty heavy, pretty decently strong leader, something I'm not going to have to worry about catching redfish. We're going to have no issues with this. So I come down about 1/4 of the way and kind of measure that out from the line. And we want to get a spot. Now, for this next part, we're going to get a single sleeve. And we're going to go down, like I said, about 1/4 of the way. You can use the double barrel sleeves on this as well. It just looks funny, and I don't like it. We're going to use this. So what that does now is it stops my weight from moving all the way down to the other end where we're going to have our clasp and hook. And I like it this way because when it sits on the ground, the rest of the line is going to float a little bit and you're going to have your bait a little bit off the top. So the longer this back section is, you know, as long as you don't have crazy current or anything like this is going to set off the bottom of the sand or wherever you're fishing. So next thing we're going to do this the same way. You want to start with your double barrel, just like that. We're going to run it through here, make a loop. And this double barrel is really nice when we're running it back through itself because we have one side of each line in each side of the barrel. And it just makes everything look a little bit nicer. It's a little too much. That's about how I like it, just like that. There's one side, and then we're going to go ahead and do the other. Now, I will say when you're squeezing this, make sure that it's on the inside and not the outside. If you're squeezing the very outside of this, you have the possibility of cutting that metal a little bit, which can actually cut your line. So just keep that in mind. And that is it. That is all there is to it. So now we're going to put our hook on this side, we're going to run our line to this side, and that is about as easy as it gets. Simple, strong leader that we're just not going to have to worry about. Alright, so the next leader we're going to make is going to be very similar to the single barrel weight. The only difference is we're going to replace that with some clasps so that we can change out our weight, we can change out our hook. Gives you a little bit more versatility. So let's get going. Now I've already put the swivel and the barrel sleeve on there, tighten that down. No sense in showing you that again. Now one thing I am going to do on this one is I'm going to go ahead and put some of these beads in here. You know, sometimes it just makes it look nicer you have this kind of movement in the water. Who knows? Some people say that it attracts fish. I don't know. But it does look nice, so that's what we're going to do. And we're going to go ahead and get one of these clasps. Throw that on there. And I'll throw another bead as well. There we go. And then we're going to get a single barrel. I'm going to slide that. Same thing, you want to measure out about a quarter, maybe even a third of the length, so that we got some movement here. A little tighter. There we go. Alright, so we got that movement. And then we're going to do the same thing on the other side. We're going to put another clasp at the end. First we're going to get our double, one of the longer ones. There we go. I'm going to slide that in, slide it through the swivel end, back through, make sure we got a good loop there, and tighten it down. There's one. Just like that. Now this is a great leader, just because I can interchange different weight sizes, different types of weights. I can put on different hooks if I want to switch from circle hooks, to the standard, or I can switch to trebles, whatever. Make it real easy for me. Super versatile leader, very easy. Now, when it comes to a Quark Leader, we're going to do the same thing. The only difference is that right here we're going to put a weight and the cork, let that move around, but everything else is exactly the same. There's no reason, that you can't do any of these. These are all super simple, and once you get the hang of it, you'll be knocking these out so fast. You do 100 of them in a night. So I'm not going to go through making the cork leaders, just because I don't need any right now, but we're going to go next time show you exactly how I store them. If you ever had a bunch of leaders and you've tried to store them in boxes like this, they never work out well. Regardless of how tight you wrap these up, they're always going to get tangled. So this is what I do. I take one of these pool noodles and I've cut it down. And the reason that I've cut it to this size is because my tackle bag. Now this is the spider wire tackle bag, and on this it has these handles on both sides. So this will fit just like that, so that I never have to sit there and dig through boxes and bags for leaders and things like that. I can just undo it right from here. So I take a pool noodle and I cut it down to this size. Now you can do whatever size you want, do different colors, maybe for different types of leaders you want. a different color pool noodle. Great thing about this also is that if you're out wade fishing or if you're surf fishing, anything like that, you can keep it with you, and if you drop it in the water, it's going to float, and you're not losing any gear. So I take this pool noodle here and I cut it straight down, just like that. And then we're going to take one of the leaders that I've already made. So this is about the easiest way I've found to store a leader. And the reason before that I measured around a pool noodle is because it fits just like that. And you can wrap tons and tons of different ones. You can wrap them with weights like this, and it's going to hold tight. You don't have anything to worry about. I put these on my handle, so if I'm out there and I break a line, something cuts it off. If I need to get this out, no big deal. I just unwrap it, just like that, and I've got a new leader. And it's super simple. You can put, 10, 20, 30 of these on and you'll never run out of leaders. Alright, so with any fishing rod that I have, the day that I go out fishing, I do something to each one of my rods. And the morning of, I will take some of these clasps and I will tie directly the clasp onto the end of these lines. And I do that on all of my rods when I go out. And the main reason that I do that rather than tying to each one of these leaders is that when I'm out there fishing, let's say that I'm fishing top water and that's just not working out for me, I need to hit the bottom. Well, I can take that leader off, I can pop on a new one. It'd be good to fish. And later on, if I decide that that's not working out, then I'll just, let's say I want a longer leader, I'll just switch to a different leader and I pop them on and off just like that. Clamp them, ready to go. It's the quickest, easiest way to switch leaders. Just keep that clasp on your line. You only got to tie it once, generally, unless you're breaking line out there. That about covers it. How I do leaders. I know that everybody's got their own opinion, and this is a touchy subject for sure when it comes to fishing, because everybody has their own opinion. I guarantee that somebody's going to tell me that I'm doing something wrong. I'm not saying that this is the perfect, way to make leaders and the way to fish. It's just my way. So this is what I use. I hope it helped. If there's anything that you'd like to see in the future, let me know. Locations, different types of gear. If there's anything that you got questions on, leave a comment. And always like and subscribe. I appreciate it. Thanks for watching.